So, good evening to all the delegates sitting here. On this very special day of World Heart Day, I, Ms. Poonam Bade, would like to welcome each one of you for today's special event, CV Connect 2021. So, as this World Heart Day says, use heart to connect. Connect with all those individuals who are at risk of cardiovascular diseases and need our utmost care and attention. We at Cadila are committed to help such patients and healthcare practitioners to improve cardiovascular care in India. CV Connect 2021 is one such endeavor for us where one of the eminent speaker of India will share his views on a relatively new concept of polypill for effective management of cardiovascular care. For today's event, we are very fortunate to have an eminent speaker, Dr. M.K. Das, who will enlighten us on the topic Simplify CV Care with Single Pill Approach. Though Sir doesn't need any introduction as he is a very big and renowned personality in the field of cardiology, still I will take a privilege to say a few words about Dr. Das. Mr. Pratik, can we have a slide on the introduction of Dr. Yeah. So thank you. So Dr. Mrinal Kanti Das has published more than 70 papers in index national journals and textbooks of cardiology and update books of cardiology. He has been a speaker on various national and international conferences of cardiology. Dr. Das is an immediate past president of Cardiology Society of India. Dr. Das has been a chairman of Scientific Committee of 71st Annual Conference of CSI 2019, which was held at Delhi Honorary. Dr. Das is an IMA professor of cardiology at Indian Medical Association, National Faculty of Public Health Foundation of India. He has been ex-general secretary and vice president of Cardiological Society of India. So, Dr. Das, thank you so much for sparing your precious time and accepting our invite to come here and enlighten us on the topic today, Simplify CV Care with Single Pill Approach. So, without wasting much of the time, I will hand over the session to you now. So, you can deliberate further on the topic now.
Good evening. It's a great occasion and privilege for me to talk on a very, very important subject today, that is to simplify cardiovascular care with single pill approach. As you know, that cardiovascular disease tops the list of morbidity and mortality, not only globally, but also in our subcontinent. And to mitigate this, we must search what are the factors that are responsible for this increased morbidity and mortality, and we must also find out the solution for the same. Single pill approach is an important guiding point in that direction. This cardiovascular disease burden is the major cause of death and disability globally, as I already told. And the increased prevalence of cardiovascular disease in developing countries is placing a huge burden on the healthcare services. Approximately half of the global burden of cardiovascular disease was reported to be located in Asia, particularly in low, middle, and upper middle income countries. With many individuals with hypertension, dyslipidemia, diabetes, and cardiovascular disease, there is a significant healthcare delivery challenge in India. This slide is very important because of the fact that this shows the various risk factors that are responsible for developing cardiovascular disease, like high blood pressure, smoking, high body mass index, diabetes mellitus, alcohol use, etc., etc. But what you can see here is the high blood pressure at the top of the list. And this is the #1 risk factor for death and disability in the world. and that is through increased cardiovascular disease incidence. So that's why if you take care of the blood pressure along with the other risk factors, then definitely you are going to win the battle against the cardiovascular disease. And this cardiovascular disease burden in 2016 in India reported to be 63% of total deaths due to NCDs, of which 27% were attributed to cardiovascular disease. And various risk factors responsible for estimated annual death in India due to non-communicable diseases are shown here, like diabetes 2%, then respiratory 13%, cancer 7%, injuries 12%, and cardiovascular disease is 26%. So this is the topmost factor for increased incidence of death annually. So for the communicable disease is concerned. Now, what are the barriers to prevention of strategies? There are many, but it is cumbersome and imperfect risk stratification algorithms to identify individuals at risk in primary prevention, lack of systematic implementation of proven therapies in secondary prevention, misplaced fear that the use of drugs may encourage unhealthy lifestyles. Adherence is inversely proportional to the number of pills that must be taken as well as the frequency of administration. Patients on chronic drug regimens tend to drift away from regular drug use after a period of months. In elderly, the large number of drugs that are prescribed leads to poor adherence and ultimate therapeutic failures. This has been shown again in this particular slide, where the therapeutic failure is associated with the chain of events. First, to start with uncontrolled blood pressure, then there is increased dose of medicines, increased incidence of adverse effects, and on non-adherence to therapy, which ultimately leads to uncontrolled blood pressure. So that's why the chain of events or the cycle of events perpetuate, and thereby the therapeutic failure also perpetuates. Now, poor adherence is a widespread challenge globally. Improving adherence is a crucial factor in increasing positive therapeutic outcomes. In CVD, patients do not feel the symptoms of their disease in the short term, and it is easier for them to forget to take their medicines. And polypills are a technological innovation that is expected to improve adherence by simplifying the pharmacotherapy regimen. The potential benefits of fixed dose combination are greater convenience, less pill burden for patients versus taking 2 pills separately, greater compliance and persistency, may allow for greater persistency as compared with separate pill therapy, fewer steps in appropriate patients beginning treatment with FDC can help reduce added steps of titrations, add-ons, switches that delay achievement of BP goal, and only a single co-payer is responsible. And this actually improved adherence with combination therapy to a great extent, as has been shown in the right lower panel. Another important slide to show how the combination or monotherapy can influence the reduction in the systolic BP and thereby the reduction in the cardiovascular disease incidence. If you increase the dose from 1/4 to half, then to 1, and double the dose, there is definitely reduction in the average systolic BP. But if you combine the 3 or 4 drugs, say 3 drugs with half the dosage and 4 drugs with 1/4 the dosage, then this combination therapy outwits the combination of different drugs individually in controlling the systolic BP and thereby the overall cardiac mortality and morbidity. This is a very, very important implication of combination therapy. Then how the concept of polypill actually started. The concept of multipurpose polypill to reduce cardiovascular disease burden started way back in 2003 by Wald and Law. They did suggest that the polypill should contain 6 kinds of medicine. Number 1, aspirin. Number 2, statin. 3, beta blocker. 4th, angiotensin converting enzyme inhibitor, diuretic, and folic acid. And proposed that when widely applied to all persons above the age of 55, they could reduce cardiovascular disease burden by 80%. So this was the postulation. Now, these are some of the risk factors that were taken care of by like LDL cholesterol, blood pressure, thrombosis, serum homocysteine, and all these agents like statin, 3 different classes of antihypertensive drugs, aspirin, folic acid, to this to reduce the risk factor to this level. And there was achievement or proposed achievement to the extent of 61% in ISD, and in stroke 17%, blood pressure by 46 millimeter mercury, 46% cases and 63% cases of stroke. Similarly, thrombosis was to be reduced in 32% in case of ISD and 16% in case of stroke. So thus, the universal pill would reduce ischemic heart disease events by 88% and strokes by 80% if taken by everyone over the age of 55 years and with existing cardiovascular disease. So this was very important hypothesis that was made by Wald and Law, and this was actually implemented in 2012 later on by Wald and Law themselves. The types of polypills used in clinical trials, they can vary in components and targeted risk and targeted population. These are some of the aspects that have been highlighted here. But main purpose of the polypill concept was to improve the adherence, then reduce the side effects, and improve the marketing potentiality. And that was also intended for better overall cardiovascular risk control in population, and obviously the reduction in the adverse effects and improving the adherence by the polypill. And the miracle pill, polypill, can really take care in the aging population, because of the fact that the population in India is really aging because of the improvement in industrialization, then the overall income increase. There is also the westernization in the low middle income group of patients or countries. There is increasing obesity, metabolic syndrome, diabetes mellitus, and there is increasing low adherence to treatment. Cost of treatment is also taken care of, and low compliance to healthy lifestyles are there. And with the polypill, actually, you can increase the patient affordability, increase the patient convenience, patient adherence, and ease of distribution. And obviously, these are the drugs which are combined in the polypill. Now, what are the challenges in pharmaceutical development of polypill has been shown here, that if you actually increase the number of components, then there is increased chance of patentability, and same way, increased chance of formulation problems. But there is decreased chance of clinical value and commercial interest, because you don't get money worth of research, and as well as the marketing potentiality, because of the fact that the generic drugs are used in these combinations. Evaluating patient satisfaction and preferences with the secondary prevention cardiovascular polypill has been highlighted in the Aurora study, and they have shown significant improvement in the satisfaction level and preferences over the monotherapy, and this has been highlighted in this slide. And Patients treated with cardiovascular polyp showed significantly higher scores in the two specific domains and in the global satisfaction domain, with a score of 77.3 versus 71.2% in the polypal cohort versus the mono component cohort, and it was statistically significant. And it was also corroborated in the MMS4 questionnaire studies. Different questionnaires were put, and the cohort with polypil was compared with the cohort with the monocomponent group, and in all the questionnaires there was significant positive response or satisfactory response in the cohort A, that is with the polypil, as compared to the monocomponent group. That has been these have been highlighted in this both the slides. I'm not going into the detail of it, but they are showing significant significant result in terms of the statistical values or p-values. So this is the summary. Patients with cardiovascular polypil were significantly more compliant than patients taking the monocomponents separately. And there was also significant difference between the cohort in moderately compliant patients, 18.9 versus 88.7%, and non-compliant patients, 23.4 versus 50%. The concept of the polypil in primary prevention has been evaluated in several recent clinical trials. The first significant trial evaluating the polypil concept was the Indian Polycaps study or TIPS study. This was a very, very important study and actually path-breaking trial, not only from India, but also from the planet. And this tested the efficacy, tolerability, and safety of Polycap. Study design was phase 2 double-blind, a randomized clinical trial. Study period was between 2007 to 2009, and number of sites were 50, and number of patients involved were 2,000 plus. And primary endpoints were reduction in blood pressure, reduction in heart rate, and to modify the lipids. Secondary endpoints were platelet aggregation, not adjudicated, and components were atenolol 50 milligram, hydrochlorothiazide 12.5 milligram, ramipril 5 milligram, simvastatin 20 milligram, and aspirin 100 milligram. And the results of TIPS have been shown here. The polypil brings down the risk of coronary heart disease by overwhelming 62% and stroke by 48% by reducing the BP to a great extent, both in diastolic as well as the systolic BP. And this was actually, the TIPS trial was actually a non-inferior trial in terms of the composite endpoints. And thus it was an encouraging point for all of us to start the treatment for cardiovascular disease prevention with the Polycap. Polycap strategy sees success in TIPS 3 further, and the new study design was randomized, double-blind, 2 by 2 factorial, placebo-controlled, and number of countries involved were 9, number of sites were 88, and number of participants were 5,700 plus, and study period was over 2012 to 2020. An objective of this TIPS 3 study was to evaluate a polypil with and without aspirin and vitamin D supplementation compared to their respective placebos in a primary prevention setting to reduce cardiovascular disease outcome. So this was another important milestone in the history of the Polycap strategy. And again, the cumulative incidence of cardiovascular death, MI, stroke, heart failure, cardiac arrest, and revascularization were much lower in the Polycap group or polypil group as compared to the placebo group, and thereby the conclusion was made that the polypil actually is helpful in primary prevention. And so far, the medicine adherence was concerned, mean contrast between polypill and placebo group was 80% for BP lowering medications and 82% for statins. Non-adherence for polypill and placebo similar, 19% at 2 years, 32% at 4 years, 43% at study end, 15% delays in drug supply, and 5% side effects. So similar results for aspirin and combinations were also received. The TIPS-3 trial results for primary prevention of cardiovascular disease showed that polypill reduced 21% of cardiovascular disease incidence, and aspirin group showed 14% reduction. Polypill plus aspirin reduced cardiovascular disease by 31%. Benefits were larger to about 40% with polypill plus aspirin in those without discontinuation of non-medicinal reason, and aspirin contributes importantly to the benefits. Other large studies involving more than 1,000 patients are ongoing polypill trials, and like Secure Integrate, high-risk primary prevention trial, HOPE4, and mass treatment poly-Iran trial. And the feasibility of polypill for cardiovascular disease prevention in Asian population has been also evaluated with various trials. And this is a very busy study, so I'm not going into the detail of it, but definitely the clinical research on multipurpose cardiovascular polypills have shown the newer dimension that polypill concept is not only important globally to prevent the cardiovascular disease incidence as a primary prevention purpose, but also for secondary prevention purpose. And that is not only effective globally, but also in Asian population. So quantitative approach for systematically combining results for fixed dose polypills therapeutic aspects were done, and that has shown a positive response. And this has been shown in a recently published paper, and fixed dose combination therapies with and without aspirin for primary prevention of cardiovascular disease and individual participant data meta-analysis. And this has shown that in randomized control trials, fixed dose combination treatment with polypills have shown to reduce a composite of cardiovascular disease outcomes in primary prevention. However, whether or not aspirin should be included, effects on specific outcomes and effects in key subgroups are unknown. Here I would like to mention a few points regarding the aspirin, that in 2020 ESC conference, there has been a lot of questionnaires on aspirin continuation with the ASCENT trial, then ASPIRE trial, and all these trials actually, they have shown that there is increased chance of complications or adverse events with aspirin. So aspirin has been put on a question mark list, and that is why possibly we'll have to reconsider our combination, whether we should continue with the aspirin or not. Having said that, the primary outcome was time to first occurrence of composite cardiovascular death, MI, stroke, or arterial revascularization. Additional outcomes, individual CV outcomes, and death from any cause was achieved in this objective of meta-analysis. And the outcomes were also evaluated in groups stratified by the inclusion of aspirin in the fixed dose treatment strategy, and effect sizes were estimated in prescribed subgroup based on risk factors. And this actually studied the TIPS-3, HOPE3, and poly-Iran trials, and the number of participants were 18,000. So it's a huge number. The mean age was 63, and 9,038 participants were female. So it's a huge database, and 10-year estimated cardiovascular disease risk for population was calculated to be 17.7%. And the efficacy results are like this for this meta-analysis, that during a median follow-up of 5 years, the primary outcome occurred in 3% participants in fixed drug combination strategy group compared with 4% in the control group. So there was significant reduction, and this must be taken into account. Similarly, the proportional risk reduction in cardiovascular disease was 38%, MI reduction by 48%, stroke reduction by 41%, and need for revascularization was also reduced to the extent of 46%, and cardiovascular death was reduced by 1/3. So it's a huge database with huge efficacy results with the FDC strategy with aspirin versus the control. And that's why the question mark on aspirin was again re-questioned, and that's why the aspirin combination is not yet, it is not yet over. The question mark that has been put over aspirin is not yet over, so far the answer is concerned. And we must have much more robust studies to establish that aspirin is really not better than in combination in the FDC with aspirin. And the safety results were also studied. GI bleeding, uncommon but slightly more frequent in the FDC strategy with aspirin group versus control. The frequencies of hemorrhagic stroke was 0.2% versus 0.3%. Fatal bleeding was 0.1% versus 0.1%. And peptic ulcer disease was 0.7% versus 0.8%. And they were low and did not differ significantly between the two groups. And in the Quartet study, which has been published just 3 weeks back, also showed that monotherapy was inferior to the polytherapy, and polytherapy has got the real chance to improve the cardiovascular maze, and thereby we have the real armamentarium in our cardiovascular disease management to tackle the disease effectively with the polypill concept. So the take-away message is largest reduction with treatment strategies that contained aspirin versus control, with approximately a halving in the risk of all cardiovascular disease events, effects similar at different lipid and BP levels, and in the presence or absence of diabetes, smoking, or obesity, reduction in cardiovascular disease larger with older age, most applicable in population at intermediate or greater cardiovascular disease risk. The benefit of FDC treatment started to become apparent within 1 year and was enhanced in subsequent periods. Balance of benefit compared with potential harm is in favor of the use of FDC strategy. That includes aspirin. Components of FDC strategy likely to be cost effective, and polypill as a concept for primary prevention prevails. So the conclusion is that polypill shows reduced polypill burden, better compliance, improves quality of life, and reduction in the cost. And this could be the foundation for the population-based strategies for cardiovascular disease prevention. With these few words, I conclude, and I thank you all for patient hearing.
So, sir, thank you so much for such an informative session. I am sure the session has been a great value addition for all the delegates sitting here. And the forum is now open for question answers. If anybody has any questions, they can post it on the chat box. Then sir can answer the questions. And I think, sir, the questions have already come one by one. I can share a question, then you can elaborate on the answer.
I'm seeing the questions in the box. Yeah, the number one question is, as Polycap contains simvastatin, can we add low dose atorvastatin, rosuvastatin for patients having higher LDL levels? Actually, so far the meta-analysis is concerned, they took care of all the factors, that is hyperlipidemia to any level, then obesity, hypertension, and all these were taken into consideration. And they were showing the greater benefits when the simvastatin 20 milligram was combined. So here, you need not be concerned with the LDL level, because that LDL level is not going to interfere with the overall cardiovascular maze, because all the factors have been taken care of by simvastatin 20 milligram. But if you are really concerned about the LDL levels, say for example, you are wanting it to bring down to 55 milligram percent, then possibly you can increase the dose of simvastatin by adding another 20 milligram individually to that particular patient. The second question is, what is the best time to take this medication? Actually, this is a very, very important question, because the compliance and adherence are very much related to this particular question itself. So far, my take is concerned, I find that the medication at the night will be very, very helpful. There are few factors or few causes why I am advising the nocturnal medication or nocturnal dose. Number one, if you take the antihypertensive drug in the evening or at night, you are taking care of the nocturnal variation and morning surge, where maximum number of cardiovascular events occur in the form of myocardial infarction or stroke. That is why the antihypertensive drug is prescribed mostly in the evening time. And here also in the combination, automatically there are antihypertensive drugs, and those can take care of the morning surge as well as the nocturnal variation in the BP. Now, same way, the antilipid drugs, they are also taking care of the hypercholesterolemia, hypertriglyceridemia at the night level, because the metabolism of the cholesterol and triglyceride, they happen at night. That is why you will see that most of the hypolipidemic agents are prescribed at the night level. Therefore, this combination therapy will be very helpful if you prescribe the drug at night. The third question is there a role of aspirin in primary prevention of cardiovascular disease? Now, as you have seen in the meta-analysis, where 3 trials were considered, and these 3 trials actually showed in a period of 10 years and also involving more than 18,000 . With this population, you can see that there can be reduction in the overall MACE, and that has been achieved in the meta-analysis. There actually, the aspirin was a drug combined with the other drugs. So naturally, aspirin showed a positive result. The fourth question is, would you recommend Polycap in COPD patients as it contains atenolol 50 milligram? This is another important question because atenolol is a non-cardioselective drug, and that is why there is chance of increased bronchospasm. As you know that there are two varieties of COPD, one with the bronchospastic phenomenon or bronchitic phenomenon, also known as blue bloaters, and the other is the emphysematous type, also known as pink puffers. Now, in these blue bloaters, if the bronchospasm increases, there will be further deterioration, and atenolol may increase the chance of bronchospasm. That is why possibly this will not be a very good combination. But however, in the other group, if the patient can tolerate the atenolol, and if it does not cause any increase in the bronchospasm in the follow-up, then you can continue with the drug. Thank you very much.
So thank you, sir. As we have come to an end of the session, I will now invite our marketing head, Mr. Mehul Raja, to give vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Poonam. So we have come to an end of the excellent scientific program, and on behalf of entire Cadila family, I, Mehul Raja, marketing head, would like to thank each one of you collectively and individually for accepting our invitation and sparing the precious time for this program called the CV Connect, Simplify CV Care with a Single Pill Approach. I take this opportunity to thank Dr. M.K. Das for an excellent deliberation on the Simplify CV Care with a Single Pill Approach, which is a polypill strategy. Dr. Das, thank you. Thank you so much. Beautifully articulated and explained. Indeed, sir, it's a real pleasure having you with us today on the CV Connect program. Thank you, sir. I'll be failing in my duties if I don't thank all the eminent doctors who has joined across India. Dr. Das, you will be happy to know we have more than 500 delegates joined from across India, starting from north, east, south, and west. Dear doctors, at Cadila, we are dedicated to research and innovation, and our motto is to reach to the last man of the society through quality medication at affordable price. Today, Cadila is one of the fastest growing pharmaceutical companies, and we have vision to be a significant global player by providing high quality and affordable and innovative solution in medicine and the treatment. Polycap, world's first pioneer polypill brand, has completed 11 years of cardiovascular care in India. Polycap is the only brand which is DCGI approved, having 7 global patents and backed by TIP3 trial as highlighted by Sir. Polycap has proven evidence of increasing adherence and compliance by 33% by decreasing pill burden and lowering the cost. So once again, sincere thanks for your valuable presence and contribution to make this CV Connect scientific platform a webinar a successful event. Thank you. Thank you so much. Do take care of yourself.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir.